Hey everybody, hope you guys doing alright. So this is a video on vengeance. This is a big deal, especially here in America, because I for one know at least there's a lot of movies with vengeance as, if not a part of their theme, the main theme. My dad actually has book ideas. My brothers love vengeance. When I was younger, I was very much into vengeance too. Since growing up and seeing what it does and what it perpetuates, I've totally done my best to stay away from it as much as I can. The only time recently I've ever felt like a real vengeance inside myself was when there was people trying to kill my little brother, and I was like, if somebody kills my little brother, I might have to go do some shit. That's the only time I've really like focused and like perpetuated like a thought pattern of me taking vengeance onto somebody else, which isn't the right thing to do. But at the same time, I'm human, I'm growing, and it's like that was just, we all have our limits, man. But doesn't mean it's right. And there's a lot of people, and I think especially here in America, again, because a lot of the movies, the media, the music, a lot of this shit that we've absorbed throughout our lifetimes has to do with vengeance. Especially if you're in my generation, you grew up in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and shit like that. There's been a lot of violence, a lot of like payback, a lot of like getting even, of that type of theme has perpetuated itself to a large degree, in my opinion. And it really is nothing but cursing yourself and others. Because well, it doesn't really curse others. You're really just cursing yourself and you're hurting others. Because it all comes back at you. So if you feel that you got hurt by somebody, first of all, your lack of accountability and responsibility for that pain coming to you, whether it's coming through a resistance in your growth or whether it's coming because you did something fucked up in some other part of your life and now you're dealing with fucked up shit. But whichever way, you choosing to now take that pain and try to inflict it onto somebody else instead of just taking your licks is a lack of accountability. It is a lack of responsibility. It's also the weaker way to go about dealing with the situation, in my opinion, because I know, for instance, like when I'm angry, one of the ways it helps alleviate that anger, it doesn't really, temporarily, is if I go and shout at somebody else. But that pain's going to come back on me in a different way. I'm going to feel sad. I'm going to feel hollow. I'm going to feel empty. I'm going to feel disconnected from love. I'm going to feel a void inside of myself that's even larger now because I chose to hurt somebody else when I was in pain instead of just dealing with my own fucking pain and taking accountability for the pain that I caused, the pain and it's here now, and try to figure out a good and healthy way to get over the pain. Instead of doing that, I chose to hurt other people to deal with my pain. So that's why I call it, it's also the weaker way, and you're also just cursing yourself and you're hurting other people. And if you look at the whole way America, especially recently and since 9/11 type shit, like retaliation, like that whole thing with the towers, if that were true, the whole way we still, again, I'm saying, I know it wasn't true, but the story we're being portrayed to us was a vengeance story. Okay, we had a small, it was only like what they told us it was like 15 people that hijacked the planes and they did them to the buildings, and that's 15 people. We're holding a whole nation accountable, essentially, or a whole tribe of people accountable, essentially, for the actions of 15 or a dozen people or something like that. And what did? We went over to their country, we bombed the hell out of it, we exploited the fuck out of it, we harassed and killed a lot of the innocent people there, we took resources from their land, brought them back over here, sold it as Oxycontin. That's the large thing. If you look into what happened with Pat Tillman, he was exposing how a large part of the reason why we were there in Afghanistan was to extract and exploitate their poppy fields. And then with the poppies where you get opium, which is where you get heroin, and we took that opium and that poppy and we made Oxycontin. And that's right about the same time there was a huge Oxycontin epidemic here in the States. In my opinion, was trying to tell his family and others about this, and this is why I think they killed his ass. That's horrible. It's an absolute tragedy. He was one of the most beautiful souls I've ever seen in my life. He also was a Phoenix Cardinal, which is where I grew up. I was raised in Phoenix, Arizona. So it was just big because it happened when I was growing up, and we heard about it, and we was like, oh, he's a Cardinal, and it was just, so anyway. But my hat goes off to him because he really put his life out on the line, not only to fight for the country when he thought it was a good thing, but then when he found out it was wrong, he did the right thing, even though everybody else was doing the wrong thing. He was like, well, fuck that, y'all are crazy, this shit is wrong as fuck, we need to tell people and stand up for what the right thing is. But upon doing that, and a lot of that goes back to him signing contracts, you have to be careful with these fucking contracts, man. They killed his ass. But anyway, I'm getting off point here. What I want to talk about was the whole vengeance thing. And it's like it's just people who have this desire in their heart, they're just not wanting to take accountability and responsibility for the place that they're in. Whether, again, it's from a karmatic standpoint or from it's just a resistance standpoint, from love giving you what you need to grow. People, sometimes when they're in a painful situation like that, the only way that they can find to deal with the pain is by hurting themselves. Or destroying themselves, which is what I do. And that is not a good way to do it either. That is not the healthy way to do it. The real healthy way is to sit there and to think and feel your pain, examine your actions, how you got here, and then to acknowledge that they're here for a reason. And you can choose to react in a healthy way, or you can choose to react in an unhealthy way. Choosing to destroy yourself is unhealthy. Choosing to hurt other people is unhealthy for multiple reasons. So, you know, I don't want to see more vengeance. I'm done with the vengeance thing. This is also why our whole military needs to change too, because like I said, that whole operation of us going over to foreign countries and invading them and killing them and offsetting them, like stuff that's I've heard is even worse over there now than it was before we were there. So it's like that whole nature of the way we orchestrate our military forces is based largely in vengeance, which is just cursing ourselves and hurting other people. So we need to stop doing that. All right, I love you guys. Y'all take care. Bye.